You have a White House deputy press secretary, T.J. Ducklo, who has been on a lot of mainstream media. He was forced to resign on Sunday after it was revealed that he berated, threatened a Politico reporter with sexist language, threatened to, quote, destroy her for pursuing a story about his just a personal relationship he had with a reporter and whether or not that was a conflict of interest. It's actually kind of a legitimate story if you're the White House deputy press secretary and you have a relationship with a reporter. But then, if this had happened under the so Joe Biden doesn't get a single question about that in the CNN town hall, that his deputy press secretary was using sexist attacks and threatening a reporter. And remember, Than, it was the Trump administration that was supposed to be so anti-press and anti-media. I don't remember any stories like this. But second, the fact is that the actual press won't even cover it when it happens in the Biden White House.
Yeah, the fact that it was an issue in the first place, Jordan, really should tell you all you need to know about the Biden administration's relationship with the press. But the fact that it wasn't brought up last night, I think really is a stain on CNN. Jordan, look, I mean, if this had happened under the Trump administration, or quite frankly, if it had happened under an administration prior to that, I worked briefly in the George W. Bush administration. And if it had happened under any of the press secretaries there, it would have been not only the first question asked in a briefing like this, Jordan, I don't think the topic would have left it. Even likely in a situation like we're in now, where we're in the middle of a pandemic, it would have dominated the press briefing. And I'll tell you this, I don't think the press would have been content until the president of the United States came out and addressed the matter, especially after what President Biden said when he was coming into office, that if there was any mistreatment of staff, they would be fired immediately. I think in those situations, the president would have had to come out and face those questions. But in this situation, Jordan, when the press itself had an opportunity to press the question, he wasn't even asked.
No, not even asked. He's not asked, Than, about Cuomo. This is a huge story because he praised New York Governor Cuomo and his COVID relief. And then he's not asked about that. That's another huge scandal going on. It affects one of the biggest states in the country right now about why all those COVID-related patients and deaths were not being reported correctly. And it was done because they didn't want to tell the Trump administration because of a Department of Justice investigation. And now you got Democrats then in the state government there joining with a lot of Republicans who have called for Cuomo to possibly be impeached if he doesn't resign at the state level. And again, Cuomo was at the White House last week, and again, no discussion whatsoever about this scandal.
Well, I think the question that should have been asked of the president last night was, when you did interact with Governor Cuomo last week, what did you demand from him? Did you get to the bottom of this? Did you ask why this information was revealed? And Jordan, I think that question probably wasn't asked because I would almost guarantee you that conversation with Governor Cuomo did not involve a pressing for accurate information. But I would even zoom out a little bit, Jordan. And on this COVID issue, just on a more macro level, this was an opportunity last night to really get to the bottom of a couple pressing issues. And I'll just maybe give you two of them. One of them. Parents across this country, Jordan, have a right to know when schools are going to be open, when they're going to be fully open. And generally, the consensus across the board from the medical community is that it is time to aggressively drive forward. And yet there's this disconnect between Jen Psaki and President Biden. I didn't see nearly enough guidance for parents who are really trying to figure out when they can get back into the workforce in a full-scale mode based on when their children will be back in school. And the second thing, Jordan, and this is maybe more a little bit inside baseball, but the stimulus package for COVID relief, it's going through what's known as budget reconciliation. Jordan, that bill is supposed to be on the floor of the House of Representatives next week. And yet we don't know what the final version will be. We don't know what will be in it. We don't know what will actually survive the reconciliation process because of what is known as the Byrd Rule. Last night, Jordan, people who are in need of help, I think they deserve to hear from the president specifics about what will be in that bill, when it will pass, and why they're not looking for bipartisan consensus. I didn't hear those specifics last night, Jordan.